Welcome to the July 2021 Gaming PC Builds of the Month. My name is Corey with NoobComputerBuild.com. There are a few updates this month for those of you that have checked in previous months, but for those of you that haven't, we do these 4 builds here. We do the $500 build, the $800 build, the $1,000 build, and the $1,500 build, which are all perfectly put together for various different performances. But before we get started, let's jump into some of the updates. Over the last month, at the end of May there, and the beginning of June, NVIDIA released their 3080 Ti and 3070 Ti. Worth noting, if you can afford them and they're available, get them. They perform quite well. But my kind of rundown is that it's not really worth it. The RTX 3080 costs about 71% more than the 3080 Ti costs 71% more than the 3080, while performing only about 10% more. The 3070 Ti costs about 20% more, and is 10% faster than the regular RTX 3070, so the kind of cost per performance isn't really there. But with that being said, and with where the graphics card market is, I'll leave that up to you. If you can afford it and it's available, go for it, because they do perform well overall. And the second one is Intel's 11th generation CPUs. We didn't include them last month, even though they were released, not necessarily available, but they are available now. The two that we're concerned about are these two, the 11400 and the 11400F. You'll notice that the performance is all very similar here, because it is, except for one has integrated graphics and one doesn't. And I'll get to that in the builds that include these in a second. So let's get started with the $1,500 gaming PC build of the month for July 2020, or 2020, wow, 2021. This build is for those that kind of want to game higher resolutions, maybe good gameplay at 4K, or if you do the upgrade suggestions, you can play well into 4K easily, but basically max anything out at 2K at really high FPS and definitely 1080p. So CPU that we have for this one is the AMD Ryzen 5 5600X. Right now coming in at, it's gone down in price over the last month, so $289.99. Comes with a stock cooler that we're using this build, which performs pretty good. But if you want to upgrade that in the future, the option's always there. But for now, this cooler I quite like, so I'm going to leave this one in this build, the AMD Wraith Stealth Cooler. So it comes with it, so no cost there. Motherboard we have is the Asus AM4 Tough Gaming X570 Plus at $177.99. Graphics card that we include in this one, and the caveat with all of the graphics cards in these builds that I'm going to say is that the market's still a little wonky, so do hunt for a graphics card if you can't find one here. The one that we have linked here isn't necessarily available, but the guesstimated price is $530, $740. Don't overpay, don't pay scalpers or anything like that. Just wait. They are becoming more readily available, this graphics card and all the graphics cards in general. So just to be a little more patient, and I guarantee you'll get your hands on one. I just want to note, you can try things like the Newegg Shuffle. Go and sign up for that, because you can have a chance of just getting rolled to kind of buy one, and they do it kind of every day. Not necessarily RTX 3070s every day, but they do it every day. But anyways, this build includes the RTX 3070. Theoretically, you could get an alternative card such as an older RTX 2070. Wouldn't perform quite as well, but that option's there as well. Memory we have is the Crucial Ballistix 3600 MHz DDR4 RAM at $93.99. SSD we have here is a Crucial P2 1TB NVMe at $118.95. Power supply EVGA 750 watt Supernova at $98.83. And the case we include again this month is the Cooler Masterbox MB511A RGB case, which is a fine case with good airflow at $89.99. And this case, again, this is fully dependent on a GPU supply and cost, sorry. So it'll cost you roughly $1,400 to $1,610 at the moment. Moving on to the next one. This is the $1,000 gaming PC build for July 2021. This is the one that has had significant updates this month, as we've changed the CPU. We haven't included Intel CPUs in our gaming PC builds for quite a while. That's because they just didn't have a place, really, quite honestly. But now that Intel's released their 11th gen, and the 11400 or the 11400F replaced the previous Ryzen 5 3600, but AMD hasn't replaced kind of that CPU, budget, that basically budget and that basic performance of a CPU in quite a while. So this one replaces it, as it significantly outperforms it, and for a better cost. So the CPU in this one is the Intel Core i5 11400F at $175 currently. The alternative, and I say this with a caveat, The alternative, which might cost a little bit more, is the Intel Core i5-11400, has integrated graphics. So if you can't get a graphics card, get the 11400 and you'll be able to at least put your PC build together, at least get using your PC, maybe doing a little bit of gaming. Obviously not that high performance gaming, but at least your PC will be usable, and then just be patient and wait for a better deal on a graphics card or one that's available. So that's an option. But otherwise, save a little. If you can get a graphics card, save a little bit of money, get the 11400F. The cooler. The 11400F does come with stock cooler. However, I would not suggest purchasing that. So the suggestion here is to get a Cooler Master Hyper 212 Black Edition at $39.99. Motherboard is the Asus Prime B560MA. It's a micro ATX board at $110.99. The graphics card suggestion here is the MSI Gaming GeForce RTX 3060 Ti. Again, theoretical price $400 to $650 based on MSRP and theoretical in stock cost. Alternative cards could be the RX 5700 XT, or if you want to go even lower, the 5600 XT. But again, you might save costs there, or the supply might be available, but the recommendation is the 3060 Ti. Memory we have is the Crucial Ballistix 3200 MHz kit of RAM here. It's a 16 gigabyte kit at $87.99. SSD is a Crucial P2 500 gigabyte NVMe at $59.99. Power supply EVGA Supernova 650GA at $97. And the PC case is the Pantex Eclipse P360A for $59.99. Coming out to a range of $1,013 all the way up to $1,200 and $1,213 depending on how much the GPU costs again. Now, the $800 gaming PC build of the month for July 2021. Again, CPU change, same one. So we have the Intel Core i5-11400F. Again, 11400 if you want integrated graphics and can't find a GPU. This comes in at $189.99 or $175 respectively. The cooler is the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Black Edition CPU cooler at $39.99. Motherboard, Asus Prime B560MA, $110.99. And the graphics card here is RX 5600 XT, theoretically priced at $279.99. Alternative cards could be the GTX 1660 Super, GTX 1660, or the RX 5500 XT. Again, they're lesser comparables, but are options that you can consider as well, depending on stock. Memory, Crucial Ballistix 3200 MHz kit of 16 gigabyte kit of DDR4 RAM, $87.99. SSD, Crucial P2 500 gigabyte NVMe at $59.99. Power supply, a PVIA PR 600 watt power supply at $54.99. And the case here is a mid-tower case, even though you don't need a mid-tower. It's a micro ATX motherboard. But this one's a good budget case. So the Deepcool Matrix 50 mid-tower case at $49.99. And the build comes out to $859 at the moment. Now the final build is the budget build here. We have the best $500 gaming PC build for July 2021. This one's a unique build. It's kind of that build that you kind of get into if it's kind of that entry-level build. So this one's also unique too. So the CPU we have here is the AMD Ryzen 5 3400G. And this one is, you do not need a graphics card with this CPU. That's why it costs a little bit more than you'd think it would at $286.99. However, for $500, you can get up in gaming using this CPU and just game. You don't need a graphics card. Or if you can't afford a graphics card at the moment, you could save in the future and get one and still add one in the future. Alternatively, a higher performing CPU would be the AMD Ryzen 3 3300X as an alternative CPU if it's available at $189.99 and if you can get a graphics card. So I'll leave that up to you if this is within your budget range. The cooler included is the AMD Wraith Stealth cooler. Included motherboard is the Asus Prime B450M A at $79.09. It's micro ATX board as well. Graphics card depending on which CPU you got. So with the 3400G, you'd have integrated Radeon RX graphics, or if you got the Ryzen 3 3300X, I would suggest going with the GTX 1650 at roughly $169.99. Again, don't overpay for the card. Do not pay scalpers. Kind of go within the range plus $50 or so. Other cards could be the GTX 1050 Ti or the RX 560. Memory for this one is the Patriot Viper Steel DDR4 8GB kit. 2 4GB 6 at $51.99. Storage is the PNY CS900 240GB SSD, SATA SSD, $32.99. Power supplies, the Thermaltake Smart RGB 500 watt, $54.99. You get the plain old Thermaltake Smart 500 watt if it's cheaper, but for some reason this one's cheaper at the moment, so why not? Case again is this one, the Deepcool Matrix 50 at $49.99, and this comes out to $554. I know a little over $500 in the moment, given the wonky costs of graphics cards and such, but it's a pretty good cost for this build. All right, that does it for all the builds this month. If you want to visit the site at noobcomputerbuild.com, you can dive more into these builds as these budgets aren't concrete. There are upgrade suggestions and so on and so forth. So leave a comment if you have any questions. Otherwise, visit the site, and best of luck building your gaming PC build.